Good morning, Mr. McNeil.
Good morning.
And Mr. McNeil, I have one charge for you. It's a camping charge. And we've got Sebastian here. Go ahead, Sebastian.
Thank you, Your Honor. I had a chance to chat with Mr. McNeil about 254469 camping charge, not in violation of his deferred judgment. And I checked with the city attorneys about the fact that he has been meeting regularly with Focus Reentry, including 2 meetings this week. Continues to apply for housing for the vouchers, or for the voucher that he's gotten. I believe he's doing everything he can to mitigate these future charges, and they have approved this case for dismissal.
All right, thank you for sharing all of that. And since you've had the conversation with the prosecutor, I'll go ahead and indicate that this case can be dismissed, Mr. McNeil. So you're free to go. We've probably told you this before, but if you needed a copy of the order dismissing the case, you could come back to the court, give us a day or two business, a couple of business days, so sometime next week if you needed a copy of it. But there'll be a motion filed by the prosecutor asking us to dismiss the case. I'll grant that motion. And then, like I said, you can always get a copy of it. But you are free to go.
All right.
Thank you for appearing, Mr. McNeil. Good luck with the housing search.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Martinez. Let me take a look at what we have. Case number 4340 and 4033. We'll call the oldest case first, 4033. So this is the case that back in August, you entered into a deferred judgment on the charge for, there were 2 charges, I believe, prohibited items and obstructing government operations. You entered a deferred judgment on those 2 charges, pleading guilty, the conditions being that you not have any other similar charges during the period of the deferred judgment. And then there was a show cause order that was issued as a result of our probation officer saying that there were new charges of obstructing government operations in case number 254340. So the new case that you've received that's denominated as case 254340, if you were to be found guilty of obstructing government operations in that new case, that could result in you losing the benefit of the deferred judgment on the old case. What I would suggest that you do is have a conversation first with the navigator so they can kind of get some sense of where things are. I know things are moving slow probably for you at this juncture, nothing necessarily changing, but to the extent you can share where things are with one of the navigators, and then they can have a conversation with the prosecutor about both cases. And I'll tell you a little bit about the second case. So from a procedural perspective, it can appear kind of complicated. It's not overly complicated. You had the old case, agreed not to get new charges. You got the new case that constitutes a new charge. And so you could lose the dismissal on the old case. But the new case, 4340, I'll just tell you about that case. That's a new citation that was issued on August 20th of 2025, and the charge is obstructing government operations at 1777 Broadway, which means that you allegedly had a campsite that was in place for 72 hours after being notified that the campsite needed to be moved and you didn't move it. That's the allegation. They have to prove that charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. Do you want to have that conversation with Navigator first and see what?
Sure.
Okay, so I'll let them know. So when Sebastian comes back in the courtroom, he'll have a conversation with you, and then he can address your case with the prosecutors.
Thank you.
All right, thanks for being here, Mr. Martinez. Counsel, if you'll tell me the name of your client, I can go ahead and call the case.
Can we start with Mr. Swanson?
All right, let's call Connor Swanson. I'm going to pull up the case for you, Mr. Swanson, and see what we've got. You've had a conversation, at least have heard from the folks at CU Restorative Justice and from the prosecutor's office. Mr. Sharman, can you let us know what Mr. Swanson has decided to do?
Mr. Swanson will be taking the offered deferred judgment.
Okay, thank you for that, Mr. Sharman. So I'll go over this. You've already heard it, but I have to make a record of what the offer is for you and what you've decided to do. So I'll pull up the deferred judgment. It's for a 9-month term. There are 2 charges that are pending. There's a charge of possession of alcohol by someone under the age of 21 and a charge of having a fraudulent or fake identification. You'd be pleading guilty to those charges and giving up your right to trial and all of the rights that I've described to the group here earlier if you accept the offer and plead guilty to those 2 charges. You would be expected to complete the CU Restorative Justice program, the CU Community Living class, and then whatever alcohol or substance program our probation department determined for you. There'll also be a total of $165 in fees and costs that you'd pay to the court. The CU programs will cost you some money. Those will be added onto your bill, or you pay those directly to CU. And then including the alcohol substance class, which would also be done by Health Promotions on campus. Do you have any questions for me that haven't been addressed?
Yes, sir.
All right, so I have some questions that I have to ask in every case, so I'll make sure that this is a voluntary decision that you're making. When you plead guilty, you're giving up your right to trial and those other rights. Are you doing that voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
Is anybody forcing you to plead guilty?
Yes, sir.
Are you under the influence of any medications or drugs or alcohol?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand the charges? I'll start with the charge of having a fraudulent identification. Do you understand that charge?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Sharman, would you waive a factual basis for that
We
charge?
do.
There's a second charge of being a minor in possession of alcohol. Do you understand that charge?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Sharman, would you waive a factual basis for that charge?
We do.
I am going to find that it's a free and voluntary decision to plead guilty to both of these charges pursuant to the deferred judgment agreement. Count one is fraudulent identification prohibited, a violation of section 5612 of the Boulder Revised Code occurring August 20th of 2025 at 13th and Euclid. How do you plead to that charge?
Guilty.
I'll accept that guilty plea. Count two is a charge of possession of alcohol by someone under the age of 21, which is a violation of section 574 of the Boulder Revised Code from that same date, time, and location. How do you plead to that charge?
Guilty.
I've accepted those two guilty pleas. Place you on the deferred judgment for the 9-month term. There's $155 in fees and costs because there wasn't any community service. You will have the CU Restorative Justice program to complete the community living class. And then we're going to have you meet with our probation officer here in just a few minutes so they can go over the particulars of this agreement, but also determine the class for you, the substance abuse class. 3 separate things for you to complete. And sometimes people leave here, a lot happens pretty quickly and they're like, okay, I got my CURJ done, and they think they're done. And that happens pretty regularly, but you've got CURJ, so you're going to get a completion letter from them. You're going to get a certificate of completion for the community service. You'll get that from Slice on campus because you'll do that with them. And
Again, that's community service on this one.
that's right. I'm so used to expecting community service. No community service. Thank you for that, Mr. Sherman. You'll get the certificate from the community living class, and you'll get and you'll take that, and you'll want to get that back to us, and then you'll get a certificate of completion of the alcohol or substance use class. You'll want to get that back to us. So 3 separate things you're sending back to us to show that you've completed everything. And then the other thing I like to point out, although I think Mr. Sherman would probably do this anyway, is that you might hear from the university as well, having you meet with the Office of Judicial Conduct. They may order similar requirements. Just make sure you get proof back to both agencies so both agencies can show that you've done what you're supposed to do. So CU gets proof and we get proof. Does that make sense? Okay. Any other questions that you might have for us? All right. I think what I'll have you do is just go ahead and make your way back to probation since Mr. Sharman knows where to take you.
Go back.
There may be more than one person, and we're probably going to have you be addressed by probation as a group. So if you'll, that's out front may make the most sense. And you have others to call? Sorry, go ahead, Ms. Bittencourt.
Can we do groups of 2 or 3?
Absolutely, yes. You want to do groups of 3?
That would be great. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll do groups of 3. So that was the first one for Connor Swanson. I'll hold that aside. And then we have another case, Mr. Sharman, go ahead.
Mr. Hutchins.
And let's call Nate Hutchins. Mr. Hutchins, if you'll come forward. And again, if you know what we're going to do on that one, Mr. Sharman, that would be helpful.
Yes, he's also accepting the deferred judgment agreement.
Okay, so let me pull that up for you, Mr. Hutchins. And it is for a 9-month term to both charges of being a minor in possession of alcohol and to a charge of fraudulent identification. Just like the last young man I spoke to, you'd be required to complete the CU Restorative Justice program, the CU Community Living class, and the substance use class determined by probation. Is it your desire to accept that offer?
Yes, Your Honor.
When you plead guilty to the 2 charges, you're giving up your right to trial and all of the other rights I've described to the group. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you doing that voluntarily?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is anybody forcing you to plead guilty?
No, Your Honor.
Are you under the influence of any medications or drugs or alcohol?
No, Your Honor.
Do you understand these charges? We'll start with the charge of having a fraudulent identification. Do you understand that charge?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Sherman, would you waive a factual basis for that charge?
We do.
And they go ahead and accept the guilty plea to that charge of having a fraudulent identification, which is a violation of section 5612 of the Boulder Revised Code, allegedly occurring on August 22nd of 2025 at 13th and College. How do you plead to that charge?
Guilty.
Accept that guilty plea. Do you understand the charge of being a minor in possession of alcohol?
Yes, Your Honor.
And would you waive a factual basis for that charge, Mr. Sherman? How do you plead to that charge of being a minor in possession of alcohol in violation of section 574 of the Boulder Revised Code on August 22nd of 2025 at 13th and College?
Guilty.
All right, I've accepted those 2 guilty pleas, but we are going to put you on the deferred judgment, so you get to earn a dismissal of both charges. We'll have you complete the CU Restorative Justice program, the community living class. Our probation department will determine the substance use class for you to complete. There'll be $155 in fees and costs. Any questions for me?
No, Your Honor.
All right, just want to encourage you to get started right away. So after you've spoken to Ms. Bittencourt or Ms. Amat, make sure that you get started with signing up for everything. Lots of young people coming through this week and next week. We're going to be having people signing up for classes. If you wait too long, those classes will fill up. So make sure you get started and moving forward on that. And then if you'll just wait a moment, we'll call one more case. Do you have anything else for us?
Mr. Gray.
All right, we'll call Mr. Gray's case. Franco Gray is coming forward. I'm seeing that we have that case pulled up. It also is for a 9-month deferred judgment. Just one charge pending is the charge of having a fraudulent identification, but you'd be pleading guilty to that charge. Is that how you'd like to proceed, Mr. Gray?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have any questions before I make this a court order? All right, so I have some questions for you. When you plead guilty, you're giving up your right to trial on that charge and all of the other rights I've described to everybody. Are you doing that voluntarily?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is anybody forcing you to plead guilty?
No, Your Honor.
Are you under the influence of any medications or drugs or alcohol? And do you understand this charge of having a fraudulent identification?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Sharman, would you waive a factual basis for the charge?
We do.
I do find it's a free and voluntary decision to plead guilty to the charge of having a fraudulent identification. Let me pull that summons up. We're going to race. Let's see which one of us gets there first. I bet it'll be you.
I got it.
Look at you. Okay, it is to the charge of fraudulent identification prohibited in violation of section 5612 of the Boulder Revised Code occurring August 19th of 2025 at 855 Broadway. How do you plead to that charge?
Guilty, Your Honor.
I'll accept that guilty plea, but it will be pursuant to the deferred judgment, so you have the opportunity to earn a dismissal of the case. The requirements of the deferred judgment are that you complete the CU Restorative Justice fake ID program, so a slightly different program, but it's also offered through the CU Restorative Justice program. So I'll put that note here just to make sure that they put it on the right on the paperwork. The fake ID program, the CU Community Living class, and then you do have 4 hours of community service that you're required to complete. And you will complete that through the Slice office on campus. You'll talk initially to Fernanda. She'll go over all of this with you. And then you'll want to get proof of each of those obligations that you're required to complete back to her. So even though you're working with somebody on campus, they're going to give you a certificate. You'll want to make sure that certificate gets emailed back to Fernanda so that she has that and can ultimately show that you're in compliance. And then she can be the one that dismisses your case and seals your record. There are a total of $165 in fees that you'll pay to us. When you go to Slice on campus, they're going to charge you a $25 fee to monitor the community service. So just didn't want you to be surprised by that. We've reduced our community service fee here by $25 to offset that so that you won't pay more than anyone else was in your position might pay. Does that all make sense to you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any questions from you or from you, Mr. Sharman? All right, so we're going to send you and the other two individuals back to meet with our probation officer. They'll go over all of this. She'll be your contact person. So if something comes up, you leave here and say, I forgot what I'm supposed to do. Just call her and she can go over it all with you.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Sharman. Good to see you, sir.
That hearing had a little bit of everything. Judge Jeff Cahn presided over a docket of municipal cases that ranged from camping violations to alcohol and fake ID charges. And while the matters were routine, the session showcased his balance of firmness, patience, and even a little humor was Mr. McNeil, cited for camping. The prosecutor explained that McNeil had been working with Focus Reentry, attending meetings and applying for housing vouchers. Based on his progress, the city attorney approved dismissal. Judge Cahn signed off, congratulated him, and wished him luck with housing. McNeil, polite and grateful, left with the weight off his shoulders. Next was Mr. Martinez, who had previously entered a deferred judgment for prohibited items and obstruction. Unfortunately, he picked up a new obstruction citation tied to leaving a campsite up too long. Judge Cahn patiently explained the bind. The new charge could undo the benefit of the old deferred judgment. His advice was clear. Talk with the court navigator, let them coordinate with the prosecutor, and see if the cases could be worked out together. Martinez, respectful but subdued, agreed to follow up. The docket then moved to younger defendants on alcohol and ID charges. Connor Swanson accepted a 9-month deferred judgment for possession of alcohol under 21 and fraudulent ID. Judge Cahn walked him carefully through the rights he was giving up, the requirements, CU Restorative Justice, a community living class, and a substance use class, and the $155 in court costs. Swanson, respectful and calm, answered yes, sir to each question, leaving with clear instructions. Nate Hutchins followed, facing the same charges and receiving the same terms. Judge Cahn reminded him to sign up quickly for classes because they fill up fast at the start of the semester, mixing practical advice with the formalities of the plea. Hutchins nodded and agreed respectfully. Finally, Franco Gray faced only a fraudulent ID charge. His deferred judgment was nearly identical, but with a twist. He was required to complete CU's fake ID program, the community living class, and 4 hours of community service. Judge Cahn even joked about racing the clerk to pull up the summons before announcing the plea, lightening the mood. He explained fees carefully, noting the $25 campus monitoring charge was offset by a reduced court fee so Gray wouldn't pay more than others. Gray, polite and cooperative, confirmed he understood. The atmosphere was calm, respectful, and lightly instructional. Defendants were earnest, sometimes nervous but cooperative, and Judge Cahn kept a steady, approachable tone, clear on rights and deadlines, firm on compliance, but willing to add a touch of humor to keep things human. It was a textbook look at how municipal court balances accountability with second chances. If you found this hearing insightful, consider subscribing, hitting the bell, and letting me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every one.